Some very strange and straight up bizarre events have unfolded over the past week or so involving Roy Jones Jr. and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Now, a lot of you have probably seen the pictures by now and heard all about this story. But for those of you who haven't, let me just give you a little backstory leading up to this. Roy Jones Jr., as I'm sure you all know, is a former multiple weight and multiple time world champion who is currently about 10 or 12 years past his prime. He's lost several fights and he hasn't won a meaningful fight for a very, very long time. He's pretty much washed up in boxing terms. But he is also a commentator and analyst for HBO. That seems to be his regular job. But over the past few years, he's been fighting journeymen and whatnot and picking up a few wins here and there. And one of the places that he's been fighting is Russia. He's fought there a few times now. And strangely enough, a lot of people come out to watch Roy Jones Jr. fight in Russia. Even though he's only taking on cab drivers, Roy Jones has managed to headline his own shows in Russia, which is bizarre to me because it's not as if Russia has a lack of talent itself. There's loads of top Russian professionals who would bring the masses out to watch them fight. So why they're clamoring to fill out arenas to watch a over-the-hill, middle-aged Roy Jones Jr. who hasn't won a meaningful fight in the best part of 10 years, I've got no idea. That just baffles me. In a different country where they've got loads of top professionals, why would they? I don't understand it, but I don't know. You let me know on that one. Because Roy Jones Jr. couldn't even fill out arenas probably in his home state. Certainly if he fights in America, nobody comes out to watch him, but in Russia, they seem to love him. So he's been doing that a few times over the past few years. Like I say, against journeymen. It's not like he's taking competitive fights. He's fighting journeymen, but the Russians are still coming out to watch him and they love him. So this week, or earlier this week, pictures emerged in the press of Roy Jones Jr. shaking hands with Vladimir Putin. And him saying that his life in terms of his boxing career would be a lot easier if he was a Russian citizen. And Putin responded, and they're there shaking hands, sitting down at a table, him, Roy Jones Jr. and Putin. And Putin says, well, I'll be happy to grant you Russian citizenship. And so it was done. Roy Jones Jr. signed the papers and Roy Jones Jr. is now a Russian citizen. That's right, people. We are entering the twilight zone. Because we all know that relations, at least on the surface, between Russia and the United States are frosty at the moment. And they're probably as frosty as they've been at any time since the Cold War. So it's a very interesting and strange development to see Roy Jones Jr. doing this. And in fact, Roy Jones has been made enemy of the state by Ukraine, because as I'm sure all of you know, Ukraine and Russia have been having their problems over the past couple of years as well. So they've made Roy Jones enemy of the state because of the fact that he was in a region called Crimea, which was annexed by the Russian government fairly recently from Ukraine. So there you go. Roy Jones Jr., enemy of the state. Who'd have thought it? Now, a lot of people are wondering what's going on here. Is it just Roy Jones Jr. doing something for his career and it's all perfectly above board and legitimate and there's no ulterior motive here from Roy Jones or from Putin? Is it that? Or is it a situation where this is a diplomatic thing? Maybe the US have extended a hand of diplomacy out to Russia and they're using Roy Jones Jr. as that? Or is there some espionage going on here? Some people have even speculated that Roy Jones Jr. is going to be a spy, either a Russian spy or an American spy. Now, people laugh at this kind of stuff and they think, wow, that's far-fetched. Well, spies are a reality. Every country has spies. It's just a case of who are you going to send? It would seem a little odd for them to send someone who is a public figure like Roy Jones Jr. as a spy. The Americans to send someone as, known as him. And in terms of him being a Russian spy, I mean, what would his motivation for that be? Money? I don't know. It's not beyond the realms of possibility, but I don't know. I'd be surprised if that was the case. But let me know your take on it, people. Do you think that Roy Jones Jr. has somehow fallen into the clutches of one of the security services, the intelligence agencies like the CIA or the Russian KGB? I believe they're still called the KGB. We know that Vladimir Putin is a former KGB man. So is Roy Jones Jr. being used by intelligence services, either in Russia or the United States? Or is this just all totally above board and innocent? And if it is above board and innocent, why are they making it such a public situation with Roy Jones shaking hands with Putin? I mean, to get citizenship, you don't need to shake hands with a president. If you want to get dual citizenship, you don't need to go meet the president to get dual citizenship in most countries. But this has been deliberately made into a press spectacle, this Roy Jones Vladimir Putin thing, which I find interesting. So if any of you have any coherent and logical speculation or theories about what this situation is really all about, I'd be interested to read your comments in the comment section below, because I really can't figure out what's going on here. I don't know. It's odd. It is odd. But let me know what you think in the comments. Like I said, it's happening. I'm out.